You left your children with Miss Hunsicker for how long?
About 6 months.
How could a mother leave her children in a daycare for 6 months?
How much money did you give Miss Hunsicker for taking care of your children?
Well, I was giving them food and things like that. I had already given them their clothes.
That's not sufficient. That's what I would say to a man if he was standing there, and that's what I'm saying to you, because there's no difference. They're your children.
And it was an unhealthy environment, and I'm glad.
I'm done. You're gone. Goodbye. You take your case back to the small claims court where it came from. Do you understand?
Seriously?
No, not seriously. Super seriously! You don't have to bring your new girlfriends. It's annoying. Do you understand?
Yes.
Bird, that one's irritating me. Would you get it ready?
Sure. Over this way.
How pathetic it could be when a woman helping an innocent dog had to face a legal battle where she deserves to be thanked. Judge Judy was enraged at the witness who remarked that responsible lady as liar. Judge Judy was outraged by that mother who abandoned her children in daycare for a long 6 months without giving a penny. When a mother lied in the courtroom in front of her son after an accident, telling there was no accident, made Judge Judy to pronounce the hardest words in front of her son.
Because your son was in the car, he knows that you hit her. So if what you want to do is teach him how to grow up to be a liar, you're doing a good job.
To witness Judge Judy's breathtaking analytical statements and exciting judgments against those impudent plaintiffs and defendants.
You sound like a fool.
That's your opinion.
No, my opinion's the only one that counts.
Which I understand.
You sound like a fool.
Elena was walking outside her apartment complex talking to her friend. At that moment, a small white poodle came to her. What happened then? The judge asked Elena if she was driving when she saw the dog. She said no. She was walking and talking with her friend. Then a small white poodle came to her.
The dog came to me.
And you bent down?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened when you bent down?
He smelled my hand. I was petting him. And then he left and he crossed the road and he almost got hit by a car for the second time.
As per report, it was about 6 pounds. The dog was without an owner and a leash or a collar. When it came to her, she bent down to see the dog. Then he smelled her hand. She petted him. Then the dog left and crossed the road. At that time, he was almost getting hit by a car for the second time. Elena was following him with her eyes. She was concerned about his safety. She looked for his owner around but didn't see anybody. Then the dog came back to her again. Then Elena kneeled towards the dog. He smelled her hand again. She petted him. She said she evaluated the situation, and the dog didn't seem aggressive. She tried to ensure his safety. The dog turned and bit her hand 3 times. She put the dog down, and it started to walk towards his house. She followed him from a safe distance. Then Elena saw the dog stopped in front of Ms. Garcia's apartment complex. The judge inquired, "How far is that?" She replied it was not so far from her residence. Then the dog sniffed around and searched for the way inside. At that moment, a neighbor came out of the same building with her dog. Then Elena said, "Be careful, that dog just bit me." That lady added that it happens all the time. Then Elena called animal control to report the incident. When she was on the phone, Ms. Garcia's school-aged daughter came out of the building. She replied that the dog was theirs. Then Elena told her that he had bitten her, and she showed her hand. At that time, Ms. Garcia reached there by her vehicle. Then Elena showed her the bitten hand, which was marked with blood. Then the judge asked to show her hand's photograph. She submitted that before the court, along with the animal control report. Since the animal control report states that Ms. Garcia couldn't prove the dog got rabies vaccination, she had to get the vaccination. Later, it was revealed from the hearing of the case that Ms. Garcia was outside that day, and her daughter and the dog were under the supervision of a lady. That lady was unaware when the dog got out of the house. When the judge asked Elena if she had seen that lady before, she replied no. On reaction, the lady commented that she was a liar.
Did you ever see this lady?
Yeah,
Did you ever see her?
You saw me at the door, ma'am. Don't lie.
I don't want to hear you unless I ask you a question. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You never saw her.
No, ma'am.
The only 2 people that you saw on that day were Miss Garcia and her school-aged daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Liar.
The judge stopped her loudly and said not to talk unless she allowed her. Later, that lady, Ms. Sanchez, claimed she was a witness of that incident, and she described a fabled story of that. The judge denied her statement and told her she sounded like a fool. Finally, after hearing and examining all the evidence, the judge announced that the defendant, Ms. Garcia, is fully responsible for Elena's medical bills.
Do you own your apartment or do you rent your apartment?
I rent my apartment.
Do you have renter's insurance?
No. And that's why my lawyer dropped my case, Your Honor.
So your out-of-pocket expenses
Right.
were minimal?
Right, yes.
Were minimal?
So pain and suffering.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. You left your children with Miss Hunsicker for how long?
About 6 months.
How much money did you give Miss Hunsicker for taking care of your children?
Well, I was giving them food and things like that. I had already given them their clothes.
That's not sufficient. That's what I would say to a man if he was standing there, and that's what I'm saying to you, because there's no difference. They're your children.
How could a mother leave her children in a daycare for 6 months? The plaintiff, Ms. Hunsicker, has run a family child care since 1987. In 2018, she met Ms. Cotton for the first time. One day, Ms. Hunsicker got a phone call from her neighbor, who was a church secretary. She said a mother needed help with the emergency daycare for her 2 children for 4 hours.
I actually received a phone call from my neighbor, who is a church secretary, and she said a mom had been calling looking for emergency childcare for 4 hours so she could attend a training at work.
That was you?
Yes.
On October 4th, 2018, Ms. Cotton put her 2 children in Ms. Hunsicker's daycare. One was 13 and the other was 8. She left them there up to May 2019. She didn't even pay anything to Ms. Hunsicker for them. So Ms. Hunsicker sued against her, demanding $5,000 as her bill. During the hearing session, the judge asked Ms. Cotton how much money she gave to Ms. Hunsicker during those 6 months. She said she paid nothing.
How much money did you give Ms. Hunsicker for taking care of your children?
To her herself, none.
To her?
None.
Then the judge asked what she thought about how her children would be supported there. She replied, "I gave them food, clothes, and whatever they needed." That made the judge angry. Then the judge asked if Ms. Cotton visited her children every day. She said yes, but that was a lie.
Did you bring them food on a daily basis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? So that means you saw your children every day?
I did, but not breakfast and lunch because they were getting that at school.
So what you're telling me, Ms. Cotton, is that you brought your children dinner every day?
Yes.
Is that correct?
No, it is not.
Of course not.
You will be shocked that she got government assistance for her children, but didn't hand that over to Ms. Hunsicker. She kept that. Instead, Ms. Cotton counterclaimed for $5,000 before the court for damages of her children's properties. The judge asked what properties she had left with her children when they were with Ms. Hunsicker. She said a list of items like clothes, toys, kids' bikes, etc. Then the judge asked Ms. Hunsicker about this. She replied that she had contacted Ms. Cotton repeatedly to collect and sign for those goods in front of a notary, but she didn't do that.
When she deposited her children with you,
I do have the children's clothing. I have been trying since May 20th to get her to join me and sign for them in front of a notary for liability reasons. She has refused to do so. I have text messages showing each and every time I have tried to get her to sign for everything.
this is the answer.
Finally, the judge announced the verdict in favor of Ms. Hunsicker. The judge also stated to Ms. Cotton that they are your children. So you are the one who is required to take care of everything they need, like food, clothes, education, and medical care. No stranger, but you are required to take care of your children.
If you do not pick it up at 5 o'clock, she's going to call a trash and have them removed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Let's watch the next case, where Judge Judy warned the defendant not to tell a lie in front of her son. Did that mom change her mind? Let's see. On June 27th, 2017, the plaintiff, Kim, was in her car at 2:15 in the afternoon. She was driving straight down the main road. The defendant, Ramsdell, came through the stop sign and hit Kim's car. The judge asked Kim to show their car's position on the board, standing aside in the courtroom. Kim showed there that she was driving straight down the road. Then Ramsdell's Tesla came from the left side road and crossed her from the front side. Then Ramsdell's car went to hit the road curb with her left front wheel. Both of them had got out of the car, and Ramsdell apologized to Kim for the incident. She said, "I tried not to hit you. I swerved but couldn't make it."
She stopped, she got out of the car.
She apologized profusely.
What did she say?
She said, "I'm so sorry. I tried not to hit you and I swerved, but I didn't make it."
Later, Ramsdell denied that. She told her insurance company that no accident happened by her car there. Ramsdell's son was sitting in the front seat. They exchanged phone numbers.
We exchanged phone numbers. She texted her phone number to me there on the scene, the cell number. She texted it to me as I stood there.
They showed their text messages to the judge, what they exchanged between them. That showed that Ramsdell had mentioned to her insurance company that her car hadn't been in any accident. The judge asked her why she said that. Then Ramsdell replied that her car was close enough, but she didn't feel any impact of an accident. The judge became annoyed and asked Ramsdell,
Why did you tell your insurance company that you didn't hit her?
I told my insurance company that I did not feel an impact.
Is that what you want to teach him? How to lie? Is that what you want to teach your son, how to
No,
lie?
Your Honor.
But Ramsdell kept telling her fabricated story. Then the judge announced the judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of her car fixation cost. Let's watch this case, where Judge Judy beautifully taught the lesson of self-respect. Megan Sonkrant, a 21-year-old girl, sued his ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Tyler Nichols. Megan complained that her ex-boyfriend was supposed to pay for his bedroom furniture, which was bought on credit, but he hadn't paid any amount, so she sued him. Megan said that when they were in a relationship, her ex-boyfriend, Tyler, moved into his new apartment. He didn't have money to buy furniture. That time, Megan helped him to buy a king-size bed frame, a mattress, and a TV. By the time they had broken up, he had a new girlfriend. The defendant, Tyler, was supposed to pay for the furniture, but he didn't. When the judge asked him why he hadn't paid the loan for the furniture, he replied he thought it was a gift from Miss Sonkrant. Then the judge asked the defendant,
And you have a new girlfriend?
Yes.
Do you watch the TV with your new girlfriend?
Yes.
And you sleep on the mattress in the frame?
Yes.
You think it's right that the plaintiff pay for that?
I mean, it was a gift.
It might have been.
That time, the new girlfriend interfered between the judge and the defendant. Judge Judy was displeased and told her officer to get that girl out of the courtroom.
I'm just asking you if you think it's right that she pay for it.
Me and him were together when she bought the bed.
I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
Bird, that one's irritating me. Would you get it ready?
Sure. Over this way.
You don't have to bring your new girlfriend. It's annoying. Do you understand?
Yes.
Just annoying.
Then she asked the plaintiff if she had a document where he promised to pay the loan. The plaintiff, Ms. Sonkrant, showed the judge the defendant's email where he wrote he would pay her. The defendant did not believe that at first. So the judge instructed to show him the email. After that, Judge Judy dismissed the case and announced a verdict in favor of the plaintiff for the payment of the total price of the furniture.
Unfortunately, your choice of language was such that the camera operator here can't take a picture of it. $2,235, judgment for the plaintiff. They're done.
How can people behave so irresponsibly, even in the courtroom, that makes the judge's reaction irresistible? This is a case where Judge Judy dismissed the case immediately. The plaintiff, Mr. Fahey, and the defendant, Mr. Castro, were friends. Mr. Castro allowed his friend Fahey to move into his house. Mr. Castro allowed his friend a room for a modest rent. Mr. Fahey brought his girlfriend in, then her mother-in-law in. The judge asked him when his girlfriend moved in with him. She wanted to know the exact time, after 2 or 3 months. Then the plaintiff said she moved in just with him. But that was not correct. Mr. Fahey wrote and signed on the complaint that she moved into his room shortly afterwards with his friend Castro's permission. When the judge showed that complaint letter, Mr. Fahey started a continuous argument with the judge, which made Judge Judy annoyed, even though she tried to keep the plaintiff on the right track. But the man's behavior was irritating. Then the judge announced suddenly, "You're gone, your case is dismissed." The immature plaintiff couldn't believe that. He asked her if she was doing that seriously. She replied loudly, "No, super seriously."
And it was an unhealthy environment, and I'm glad.
I'm done. You're gone. Goodbye. You take your case back to the small claims court where it came from. Do you understand?
Seriously?
No, not seriously. Super seriously!
Judge Judy is a good example of a perfect judge with all her humor, tolerance, and analyzing ability. Society needs a Judge Judy to learn how to balance the truth, responsibility, and humanity in the human behavior. Share your opinion with us.